You know, sometimes I don't think we understand God's power. Or at least we think we do and we don't. Like somehow we think that going to church a few hours a week, we think that having a quiet time, once a day for 30 minutes to an hour is going to make us understand it. The thing is, the more we try to understand it and we try to unpack it and we try to get a grasp on it is the moment that we realize that we can't even comprehend it. Grace is a marvel that is so unobtainable that we can't even begin to understand. Let's look at this. The God who shows grace and mercy and love is the same God that would look at my life and say, "You're not good enough." And yet He loves me anyway, and He shows me mercy and He shows me grace. But that is grace. It's amazing. Even though I always stumble and I always end up failing, it doesn't matter how good I think I'm doing, I always end up short. And yet He still holds me right there in His hands and says, "Look, this is what I did for you." He died for me, and He was beaten, He was spat on, He was bruised, and yet the best thing I can ever do is clutter the shelf that I decided to put Him on. I say that He's number one in my life, that He's up on the top shelf, but I clutter it with school, friends, jobs, other things like that, and it's no longer His shelf. It's a shelf that He's on, but it's cluttered with everything else. I deserve to perish. I don't deserve grace. I don't deserve mercy, and yet because of God, because of His sacrifice, because He loved the world enough to send us His Son, now I get to be cherished, and now I get to be filled with a joy that I know that because I'm not good enough, even though I'm not good enough, I still get to have an eternity with heaven and with God. And that is grace. It's amazing. Even when I feel like I'm doing good, I'm going to church, I'm reading my Bible, I feel like I'm praying the way I should, it's still not good enough. It's still not anywhere close to where I need to be, to where I feel like I need to be. That alone keeps me up at night, searching for an answer to clarify why I deserve the grace that I have, why I deserve any grace that God decides to give me. There's nothing that we can do that comes anywhere close to being good enough, and yet we still have grace and we still have mercy, and that alone is something that once you are able to grasp, once you realize it's an absolute gift from God, everything becomes a little bit brighter. Even though sometimes I don't think I'm necessarily good enough, grace steps in and says, don't give up. God is the one that keeps me going, because without Him, I'm never going to make it. Something that is so desirable, yet so unobtainable, because we can't get grace by ourselves. We can't earn grace to any extent. It's something that He willingly gives us as a gift, and it's something that we willingly should be giving as a gift. God created us to be gift givers. He created us to go out into the world and love the world and cherish the people in the world, and look at the world and say, this is a gift. This is God's gift to us. In one of my classes, I've been watching a few videos, and the videos are all summed up to one specific thing, and that is for the life of the world. And one of the videos that I just recently watched is talking about the gift that we have families, the gift that we have significant others, the gift that we have children to be given as service to God into the world as gifts. The family is one of the many blessings that God gives us, and it is because we are to use our family as a gift for the world, as a gift to the world. When I look at my own family, I'm very blessed. I grew up in church. I was taught by my parents to love others and to love God, and I've been blessed with a family like that, a testimony like that. And it just proves more and more the grace of God. And with that gift, I should be going out into the world and spreading that gift and that grace and that mercy that He's given me. I absolutely don't deserve grace. No one is good enough to deserve grace. No one is good enough for the grace and mercy that God gives us. And that's what makes it grace. That's what makes it so sweet and so beautiful, is the fact that we don't deserve it, and yet He gives it to us willingly, and that is grace.